Hey, there we go. I don't know what happened there. Okay, looks like we're good to go now. I might be a little too loud. Looks like I'm hitting the red line here. How am I sounding, guys? Am I too loud? That's what I thought. Okay. Alright, how about now? Let's see here. Doing some mic tests, and now I'm in the yellow. That looks a little better. How's that sound? Have I calmed down a bit? Okay. Let me see here. Go a little lower, because I am peeking into the yellow. Let me see how that is. Okay, now I'm just barely getting into the yellow for Streamlabs and the microphone. I don't know what happened there, but sounds... Am I too low now, or how's that sound? Because that seems to be right where it should be, in the comfortable zone. Okay, cool. Wade, Webster, hello. Clawpaw, Clorox, hello, welcome. Thank you all for joining. This is... a little technical difficulties, but at least we got that figured out. I don't know exactly what happened there. My setup never changes, although I do have to I have to log out of Streamlabs from YouTube and then log back in so I can get everything like updated, so you guys can see like, oh, who's the newest subscriber and proper counts and whatnot. No, it's the same mic. I haven't changed it. Like I said, Dexter bumped into it, my one cat, but that's about it. I don't know what happened there. Maybe Streamlabs did some kind of a weird little update I wasn't aware of. I don't know. Alright, so it looks like we're good to go. Let me jump and switch over here so I don't forget, and we'll get right into this. Alright. Yes, it's great to have you here, Wade. Thanks for making it. Yeah, it's very strange, Clawpaw. Okay, so we had a request in the Discord server. And if anyone's interested to join, here is this week's Discord link. And I'll throw that in chat. So there you go. And I will also pin that in case anyone wants to join up that's not already joined. And let's see here. So we have a monster request from Clorox. And this is the Kython Broodling. Alright, let me pull this up. Switch this over to here. Get this going. Oh, all right. We got a new person joining into the Discord. Welcome, welcome aboard there. And let's see here. What do we got? Where was that in the general? I don't remember where the. Oh, it's there. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So we have another. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, trying anyways. Okay. So we have our custom monster here from Clorox. This is the Broodling Kython, a small aberration. So let's get over to the tool, clear out everything from what I was working on last, which I don't remember the name of the monster, but I think it was the Fire Newt Warrior, probably. And let's see here. So we'll start off with the basics, and we go from the top down. We start with the armor class of 13 AC. We have a small aberration. This is only important for the hit dice, which we have 5d6 plus 5. So we're looking at the following stats of 8, 15, 12, 8, 12, and 8 again. And this should be a CR1. And now that we're done with all the basic information here, we'll jump into the monsters skills area. And we have one saving throw, which we don't have to worry about. A couple skills, which we never worry about. one resistance to cold, one immunity to acid, and a whole bunch of senses which we don't matter. And normally we would add in damage resistances or immunities if we had, generally it seems, 3 or more conditions here. Usually like bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, or fire, cold, and lightning, something along those lines. But since we only have one of each, we're going to skip right over those. Then we go down to the Poisoned Strike trait here. And the Kython's attack deals an extra 3 poison damage included in the attack. If the target of an attack is a living creature, it makes a Constitution save or becomes poisoned for 1 minute. While poisoned in this manner, the Constitution score is reduced by a d4. An affected creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turns, ending the effects on itself as a success. So we do have to keep a lot of that in mind here. We have the poison condition from the poison attack. So with that, I usually like to add in the stench ability from troglodytes because they also give creatures the poisoned condition. And when you're poisoned, this gives you disadvantage on the attacks, which retroactively becomes a bonus to your AC because it makes it harder for the players or the targets to attack the monster. So the same goes with poisoned conditions from weapons and so on. It does the same thing, so we apply the same bonus. Now the interesting part here is we have this extra rider of Constitution damage of 1d4. So in general, we would see 2.5 condition or Constitution score damage. Now, because of how much damage that is really doing, it's doing more than actual 2 because we only have, generally speaking, without magical equipment, we generally will only see 20 points. 2.5 is, what are we looking at? 12%? 12%, I think. And 2.5 divided by 20. Yeah, 12.5%. So that's a considerable amount of technical damage that could be applied on while poisoned. Let's see here. Affected creature can repeat the saving throw. So every time it's hit, I think. Or is it just while poisoned? Yeah, I think it's... Alright, so it's just a one-time thing, it looks like. It doesn't repeat itself over and over again. Because you can only get poisoned the one time, and the poisons won't reapply unless you end the condition. Then there's a chance of it happening again. But since we're considering the best case scenario for our monsters... Okay, just while poisoned. Oh, okay. Curious. Okay. I would say we should still add that into effective damage anyways, and then we'll go from there. So let's move down into the actions for our Kython here and see what we have. So, going back over to the main area here, we have +4 to hit, and since it's a monster of, CR1, that's 2 proficiency bonus, and we're using dexterity, so we have a +4 bonus to attack. And then we have for our damage, we have a bite that deals, let's see here, 2d6 plus 2, so that's going to be 3, 5, 7 plus 2 for 9. So 9 even there, and the tail attack of 4.5 since we have an odd number of dice. And then our multi-attack, let's see here, once the condition ends, their Constitution score is restored. Then if they fail again, it can be reduced again. Okay, so it's just a constant back and forth. Alright, I got you. So, yeah, we won't have to really worry about... Yeah, we won't have to really worry about too much damage there then. And we'll just add that in as 2.5 effective damage, even though... Well, do we? It's only technically the one time. And in theory, we would probably apply it to 2 targets. Let's see what happens. Okay. So for our multi-attack, we have, let's see here, a bite and a tail attack. So we'll just be doing one of each. We already have the poisoned from there. Oh, I forgot to add in the poison damage to the to both the attacks. So we will do an additional 3.5 there, and an additional 3 plus 3. Come on. 3.5 there for poison damage on both the bite and the tail attacks. We're looking at 20.5 effective damage here. And then we will also be doing this every round of combat. So we'll just take the multi-attack, multiply it by 3 for all 3 rounds of combat to get ourselves an even 20 effective damage. And sure enough, we have ourselves a nice CR1 monster. Clorox does his homework, and they come out pretty much, generally, like 99% of the time, right on target, which is awesome. We had like one monster last week that Clorox gave us, a spellcaster that was a little off, but beyond that, we had 3 or 4 other monsters that were right on the mark. So Clorox does an awesome job with their homebrews. A deity of homebrew, yes. In the land of over and underrated monsters, homebrew monsters, Clorox does an excellent job balancing out his monsters here. I mean, I can't claim to have amazing homebrew monsters either. Sometimes they mess up. I mess up all, as well. So I'm only human, and I'm going to get them wrong every once in a while, especially when it comes to spellcasters. Oh, that takes some time. All right, so what if we add in, let's say, let's see what happens if we add in the little bit of constitution damage here. And we'll say one of the 3 rounds, we apply it, they never get over the poison condition. What are we looking at here? Does this change anything? And it does actually change it just a little bit. Because technically when we reduce the constitution, that should be an immediate amount of damage. So maybe, let's say here, what if we remove the poison from the tail? What if it's just the bite? Because I'm seeing the tail as maybe just a swipe. If we remove the poison from the tail, then we're back to CR1. So in theory, the constitution score damage is helping a little bit because of that initial reduction to constitution saves, which is already going to affect the poison strike and the poisoned condition on top of that. So, I could see this and whatever other monsters as well on top of that. Yeah, I don't know. That constitution score reduction is tricky. That's a curious one. If you want to keep it in there, Clorox, I might suggest removing the poison damage from the tail attack. Otherwise, maybe nixing the constitution damage since it's only temporary anyways. I like everything else for the poison strikes, giving the poison condition. There are some instances where if you want to make the monster a little more crazy in damage, you could give it paralysis if the constitution save is failed by 5 or more. That's something I've been seeing a lot with some of the monsters as well. Okay, so Clawpaw, to be fair, spellcasters are meany and impossible to hit just right. That's very true. They are so wild with what happens with them and the magic you can use that anytime, we have 3 different DMs using the same type of caster, like an archmage or something, and with the abilities and the magics that they have, the CR at the table is going to be wildly different because of the situations that are going on. Okay. Welcome back, Clawpaw. And yeah, I would say, regardless of the constitution bumping that up or down, this is pretty much a CR1. I mean, we have low constitution saving throw of DC 12. Most players have, generally, I would say, on average, a +2 in the beginning round. So that's a 50-50 chance of passing it or not. Let's see here. There's a conversion from 3E, and the ability damage was a big thing back then. Yeah, I always tried to translate it over, but balance it out a bit. Didn't work too well this time. Well, like I said, the constitution damage is tricky. Like, when we look at the shadow is doing strength damage. And if we take it as just the amount it is, however much the shadow does, what is it, D4 in strength damage every time it hits, it seems to work then, but if a target only has 16 strength and they're dealing 2 points of damage every time on average, we're looking at what? Yeah, all right, so it's another 12.5%. That's an eighth. So if they get 8 hits off, or if there's multiple shadows hitting the same target and 5, or, we get on average 2, that player is going to be dead in 8 hits. So it's tricky how to really work the strength drain and the stat drains and all that. That's just my 2 cents on that. I generally stay away from them when I create monsters. I prefer the other stuff, but it is fun to really throw a wrench into your players', plans when something like this comes up and watch them scramble. Okay. Here is Clorox's custom monster, the Broodling Kython. It's a fun one to look at, nice and quick, and we'll move on. There was a request, I think Clorox also requested Belashira from Eberron Rising from the Last War, and did I miss something? I think Clawpaw. Did Clawpaw request? Yes, the Gore Magala. Is that a custom monster? Or is that, let's see here. Where is that one from? Oh, is that another Monster Hunter conversion, Clawpaw? Ah, yes. Okay. I have to get the link again from, where was it? The monster requests, I believe. There we go. Okay. All right. Pulling it up, and let me get this going. Again, this is another fun one for those that are watching this at a later point in time, or anyone new in the live stream. The Monster Hunter Manual is by a person named Wind, and this guy is really great at creating monsters as well. He's been doing, I guess, a whole bunch of Monster Hunter stuff, and I'm also on a Patreon with him. Different project. And I looked at some of his monsters, and of course the spellcasters were off, which is not surprising, but everything else was spot on. So this guy does really great work, and if you're looking into it, I would highly recommend any, his Patreon or whatever. Back him, let him know Andrew from D&D CR Exposed sent you if you back this person. Okay, we got a big one then. Let's find it. Let's see here. What was it? Missed it. Magala? What was it called again? Here we go. Gore Magala. Okay. Let's get this in the right page. Gore Magala, 377. Okay, let's spin right down to here. Oh, gotta go further. 377, a little further. Oh, we're at like the bottom, huh? Oh, no, I totally missed it. Where? Crud. Oh, 337, darn it. Okay. A little more. Here we go. I wonder how long this guy was working on this stuff, because there are a lot of monsters in here. All right, perfect. We have the Gore Magala. And is this the monster itself here? Or is that from the other one? I don't know if that's the right monster right there or not. Anyways. So we got a slate bleed over for, looks like a legendary actions. Okay, cool. Oh, I could have clicked on the names? Oh. Okay. I'll have to remember for next time. Alright, looks like our tools reset. Let's jump on this one. The Gore Magala. Huge monstrosity. Unknown. Interesting. It's not a dragon, apparently. Or a wyvern. Anyways, 20 AC. We have the huge trait in place with 18 D12. And what is that? 25 Constitution. And should be a CR 21. Okay. Now, we have, let's see, 3 saving throws of Strength, Wisdom, and Charisma. So we'll just swap that over to 3 to 4, giving us a +2 AC bonus. We have a couple skills, some damage immunities of Necrotic, and all the original, the core stuff. So we will add that in, giving us a 25% bonus in hit points down here, which turns out to be 60. And then we have condition immunities, which surprisingly don't affect our monster, so we'll just move on from there. We have some senses, which we don't care about, and we can move down into the monster traits. We have Frenzy. When a creature has 3 frenzy charges. They make a Constitution saving throw. On a fail, creature is afflicted with the frenzy virus until dispelled by greater restoration. On success, the frenzy charges reset to 0. Okay, so what does the frenzy do? Oh, here we go. Frenzy virus template up here. When a creature contracts frenzy virus, it retains its statistics except as described below. The infected monster's strength and dexterity increases by 4. Speed increases by 10. I guess that's it? I mean, that's still a lot to have strength and dexterity jump by 4. Huh, okay. Well, we can look into that. It's going to modify the damages and the AC. Well, not the AC, but the damage a little bit. So we'll see how that works out. Let me pop those in just for the heck of it since we are working there. Just a moment, people. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Just a little kitchen emergency that needed to be taken care of. Everything's good. Hopefully the fire alarm doesn't go off. Whoops, wrong scene. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Where was I? Let's see here. It also does something with sentient creatures, left side, but the question is if it's sentient, because I don't know. Oh, all right. Oh, right. Intelligence is high enough, probably. I guess we'd have to read up more on that. Huh. Yeah, you'd have to really read into that to see what happens. I guess if the, Oh, well, maybe it's applying the frenzy to something else. We don't really have to worry about the Gore Magala itself getting the frenzy, but, you know, a player or someone else, a target, getting the frenzy itself, not the Gore. Yeah, we'll skip that for now. We do have 3 legendary resistances, though, so we will go ahead and take care of that. And then, let's see here. What's next? Actions. We have the Gore Magala makes 1 bite and 2 claw attacks, or uses its viral discharge twice. Okay, so we're looking at 15 for the melees and a 10 for the ranged weapon. So let's just do that for now. We'll say 15 there, and then we'll decide in a little bit what we need for the others. So we're looking at, for the claw, 15 slashing damage. For the bite, we got 21 and something. The target gains 1 frenzy. And then viral discharge. The weapon is dealing, let's see, 14 and another frenzy. And then we have virus wave. Gore Magala unleashes a necrotic pulse in a 30-foot radius around it. Each creature in that area must make a dex save or takes 63 points of damage. So we're going to do, let's see here, 63 times 2. And 1 frenzy charge, successful saves like usual. Okay, so our multi-attack is going to be, what was it? A bite and 2 claws, or viral discharge twice. So we would say the bite and 2 claws, which will definitely be the higher value, or it seems like viral discharge times 2. And that's it. Okay. Let's look into legendary actions now and see what works, what we have there. So we have detect, so that's going to be a whole bunch of nothing for detect. Bad breath, it uses the viral discharge attack, which is handy. All right, so we can do that for 1 point, 1 legendary point. So we'll do that. What is that? Times 3. And then what's the last thing? We have frenzy dash for 2. Gormagala moves up to its speed. During its move, it can move through other creatures without provoking attacks of opportunity. Creatures make a dex save or take 18 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. Okay, so kind of similar to a wing buffet, which is kind of funny, and like dragons would have. So we'll take, what was that, 18.5, times that by 2 for 2 failed saves worth of damage, and add in 1 of the pukey attack things there. And turns out this will actually be the higher amount of damage. So we'll just go ahead and use that. And let's see here, what is going to be doing the most amount of damage? So we can apply that for our saving bonus, our difficulty checks, and for our attack bonuses and such. So we're looking at, let's see here, 3 melee attacks. That's for the multi-attack. We have the virus wave, which is a DC 20. So that's going to be 2 there. And then every round we also have at least 2 more saves for the frenzy dash. So we're looking at 2 for there, and then 1 range. So it looks like we can keep it on the plus 15 attack bonus here. All right, so let's start calculating our rounds of combat here. So we'll start first round with the virus wave, and then we'll throw in the frenzy dash and a viral discharge. So that'll be round 1. Round 2, we will then go and switch to the multi-attack and also do the frenzy dash plus the viral discharge, and we'll repeat that for round 3 as well. And turns out we have a slightly underrated Gormagala here, only by 1. I'm curious to know what was different here that got a 21 over 22. Maybe they used, maybe he used just the viral discharges instead. That could be it, and maybe averaged out the attacks. I wonder what would happen if we switched that up instead. Let's say we did that. Okay, that might be what happened. I could see that as a well, no, because then we're looking at maybe ranged attacks. I don't know. Yeah, probably does have something to do with the virus. I'm not entirely sure. It's a interesting mechanic. In any event, it's close enough that a 21 and a 22 aren't going to be drastically different, especially with the power of our players that are going to be fighting a CR22. I mean, if this is the main monster, then let's see when we would be encountering that. So we have 1 monster, CR22, and we would want to try and find, let's say, a party of 4. When would they be fighting that? Let's say 12. Let's see, CR12. Wow. Okay. So a boss, we still have plenty left over. So 11 would be probably as low as I would want to go. What about 10? 10. So possibly 4 players at level 10 might be, could potentially have this as a good solo monster encounter. After that, we could start to maybe throw in some other monsters as well, like, player level 11. We have a total player CR of 22. Our Gore Magala here is a 22. And then we have 11 more CR worth of monsters to use. So we could throw in some extra stuff with the Gore Magala or however it works out. Yeah, curious. Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is too terribly underrated. Like I said, depends on how you use it in combat. More than likely, this will work out to be a 21 because it's only one off. I'm not going to say anything crazy like, oh, it should be quick fixed and done this and done that. It all depends at what happens at your table, to be honest. Could be, anything could happen. So, all right, give me a few minutes. I got to check something, and I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. Just had to double check some stuff. Yeah, almost. It was actually a box of pizza that I put into the oven, and then it wasn't checked, and someone turned the oven on, and then we had some smoke in the kitchen. Thankfully, it didn't trigger the fire alarm, and we were able to clear out the kitchen. That's all. And then I just wanted to make sure that the pizza itself wasn't damaged. So, looks like everything's good for the pizza. It'll be still edible tomorrow. Okay, let's move on. I would normally go to Belashira next, but because of how big that one is, I don't know. What's everyone want to see next? I have some options here. We could do some official stuff, unless there's some requests in the main line here. Let's see here. Nothing in general, or nothing in the Discord server. So let's see. Half an hour. Let's look at something a little easier. Bring it down a bit. Bring it down a bit, and go and take a look at this Drow Elite Warrior and see how this one works out. All right, let me pull up my book, Monster Manual. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. Definitely some official stuff would be good. Let's check that out. Well, if you got some homebrew stuff, Clawpaw, feel free to throw it in the Discord. We can take a look at it. While you're doing that, let's take a look at this Drow Elite Warrior here and see what we have going on. Actually, it should be 29. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, of course, it has a little bit of magic. Figures. That's all right, though. We can figure that out without any issue. Okay, Drow Elite Warrior, a medium elf with the following: 18 AC with studded leather armor and a shield, so we'll have to remember that for later weapons and whatnot. Medium, 11 D8, and we have 14 Constitution, should be CR 5, and we have 3 saving throws, so we'll swap that up. And then nothing else really to worry about here. Now here's a question. For those of you that are DMs and get to roll saving throws on occasion, is it ever that the saving throw usually fails anyways, even when you get the chance to use a saving throw that was specifically designed for the monster to be better at that? I know whenever I'm rolling as a DM, it never works. It almost never works out in their favor. Now, when it's not something that is part of their saving throws, it's usually okay, or I get like a lucky roll. But whenever I have a saving throw specifically designed for the monster, they generally never work. Anyways, so let's move into the monster traits here. We have Fey Ancestry. Oh, you always succeed. That's fortunate. I do not have that luck. But then again, I'm not really worried about my monsters pummeling and destroying my players. For those that do, good luck. Excellent luck for them. But for me, I'm not too worried about it. I just like a good challenge for my players. So anyways, Fey Ancestry doesn't really matter. Only gives advantage on Charmed and can't be put to sleep. We have some innate spellcasting here of Darkness, Fairy Fire, and Levitate. Fairy Fire is probably going to be the only thing we really want to worry about, because they do have Dark Vision. Darkness will still make them blind, and they don't have Devil Sight, so there's really no real reason to be using Darkness. So what can we say for Fairy Fire? Let's see. Where is Fairy Fire? I believe is... Perfect. Fairy Fire is level 1, and because it affects 2 targets, we could say it's worth 14 effective DPR. And when we take that 14 effective DPR, we can convert that to effective hit points, and 1 effective DPR is equal to 2.5 effective hit points. Yeah, we end up with 35 effective hit points. So if we use round 1 to cast Fairy Fire, we'll have technically maybe 35 hit points of saved. I mean, let's see here. What is Fairy Fire? It gives advantage on... It will give you advantage on attacks. So Fairy Fire technically should be giving an attack bonus here, not really necessarily effective hit points. So because of that, and giving advantage, let's say +2 attack bonus. Let's go with that for Fairy Fire. That's okay, Radil, and thank you for joining. Not everyone is predisposed to DMing. I was really afraid of DMing for the longest time myself, and then I read a book called Of Dice and Men. Excellent book, and it gave me the inspiration to start DMing, and I absolutely love it now. I actually almost prefer to DM rather than be a player. Yes, and there's always the errant natural 20, Wade, exactly. Let's see here. Clorox, I had some really hot dice rolls during an epic game I ran. Really made some of the fights rough. It certainly can, for sure, Clorox. Okay. Back to this. With Fairy Fire, I would say it's more of an attack bonus thing, since we're getting bonus, or we're definitely getting advantage on attacks that for targets that are glowing. So, like I said, I'm going to suggest probably 2 effective attack bonus here for that. Anything else, I wouldn't really worry about it. And then we also have Sunlight Sensitivity. Surprisingly enough, in the Custom Monsters Rules section, this is no effect. We would be using the monster in the best case scenario, so this would be somewhere where they're not going to be blinded by actual sunlight. So we can skip right down into the action section here. And we'll start with the +7 to hit for the hand crossbow and the short sword, so we'll modify that. And we'll figure that, like I said, Fairy Fire was the first round, so round 1 will be 0 there, and then we'll say 2 short sword attacks. Okay, so the short sword is going to be dealing, I forgot they do so much poison damage, 7.5 plus 10.5 because we have odd numbered dice here, and then the hand crossbow is also dealing 7.5, and they have a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned. If it fails by 5 or more, the target is unconscious while poisoned in this way. I'm going to overlook that right now because we're looking for raw damage. And let me see here. When a party member has spent an entire minute of combat casting geese. Oh no! How is that even possible? Because an entire minute of battle is 10 rounds. Oh man. Clorox, let's see here. Multiple crits in a turn on a CR 25 plus monster can mess up any plans players had. Oh yeah, plans go to crap at that point. They had good intentions, and then the monster crit saved. Okay. So, let's see here. multi-attack, we're doing 2 short-sword attacks and a whole lot of damage. So 18 points times 2 will give us the 36. We will then take 2 rounds of this since we're casting Fairy Fire the first round. And we haven't added in the reaction for parry yet, so even though we see a CR5 right now, let's see what happens with parry. Okay, parry brings it up right into a CR5. Now, the curious part is here, what happens if we take off Fairy Fire and we just attack normally? So, let's see here. We've got, our OCR drops down to a 4. We can get rid of that 0 there. Let's bump this up to 3 rounds of combat. And still, it's a CR5. That's impressive. Really, I'm surprised. So, casting Fairy Fire or not casting Fairy Fire, we still get a CR5 either way with this Drow Elite Warrior. I'm surprised. I mean, it's coming from the Monster Manual, which came out 8 years ago. So, bravo to whoever created or upscaled this from 4th edition or 3rd edition, whatever they used to work it out. Cool. Let me go and take a note of this, and we'll move on to the next monster. The main monster was banished on round 2, so they only had to stell it for a few rounds after it returned. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, because the banish lasts a minute. Oh, that's perfect. The good base. Yeah. Alright, let's see here. A Drow Elite Guard. Okay. Even rated regardless. No notes. Well, I could say with Fairy... is it? Fairy Fire plus 2 attack bonus. Still CR5. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we looked at that one. And what else do we want to look at? What we got here? Little under 20 minutes left. Let's take a look at the Ifriti. I have the monster manual up. Haven't looked at the Ifriti yet. Unless someone else has a suggestion for another monster to look at, let's take a look at this this Jinn. I believe it's a Jinn. Yeah, it should be a Jinn. Large elemental, so. With spellcasting. Of course, I picked all the monsters here. Gotta be spellcasters, except for Belashira. Yeesh. Okay. Anyways, we have it up. Let's take a look at the Ifriti and see what we get. Reset the tool. And we'll start off with 17 AC. I sent the Demos wacky pick. I'm sorry, but no need. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me jump over into Discord. I wasn't paying attention to that. Yes, okay. Right. Okay. So Rusty dropped in the Bloodletter avatar. Oh, thank you so much for dropping that off, Rusty. I see that that came up in my my requests box, and I had no idea where this was in the Google form. So this is perfect. Okay. Whoa, that came up really big. Come on, get in there. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. Perfect. There we go. Bloodletter avatar. Okay. Let's see what we got for this one here. 24 AC. Okay. Huge humanoid. Ooh, wow. All right. Huge humanoid with 19 D12 hit dice and the following stats of 22, 18, 20, 16, 18, and 16. Should be a CR20. No problems. No problems, Wade. Yeah, I'm gonna add in some notes about that, and in the top, like if it's a picture, upload it to Imgur and send me the link or something like that. That works out the best. If I can get back to the Jin Clawpaw, I will. Otherwise, I'm going to look at the custom monsters that were requested there. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Okay. So we're looking at 218 hit points. Perfect. And we have the following saves of Strength, Constitution, and Wisdom. Okay. So we'll throw those in there. And we have some skills, don't matter for the rest of these, so we'll move down into Divine Critical. Bloodletter Avatar's attacks deal 4 times damage on critical hits. Okay, so I have a critical damage calculator over here, and I don't use it all too often because, generally speaking, all monsters crit on a 20. So there's no point in adding in the added little bit of added damage for crits, or at least working up to a crit, but because we have 4 times the crit, we're going to add these in just to see what happens here. So we then have Divine Retribution. When a creature within 5 feet of the Bloodletter Avatar hits him with a melee attack, the attacker takes 30 piercing damage as well as 10 cold damage as icy spikes manifest as armor around him. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Holy cow. Okay, so that's off of 1 hit, so we're going to throw in 40 points of damage here to add into the DPR. And then we move into the actions. And we also have legendary actions. Okay, nice and simple here. We have a Great Axe and we have 3 Great Axe attacks. So we don't have to worry too much about what's going on here. But we do have a plus 12 to hit. And with a CR 20, we're expecting a 6. And let's see here. Plus 12. Yep, okay. And plus 6 from the strength modifier. Perfect. Okay, so our Great Axe is dealing, let's see here, 1d12 plus 6, so that should be 12.5 damage on average, and we're doing that 3 times, right? 3 attacks, yes. Okay, so we're looking at 37.5 for the multi-attack, and then we have our legendary actions. So we have Charge. Bloodletter Avatar moves up to his speed towards a creature. This is a tricky one. I generally... Well, not that it's tricky, it's just silly because it's very similar to the aggressive action that orcs have. And when we click aggressive, it's only plus 2 effective DPR. It's kind of silly, and in theory we could do this 3 times, so in essence we could do plus 6 DPR. So, meh. I'm going to leave that off for now because generally speaking the others should be doing more damage probably. So then let's see here. We have the Lick. Bloodletter Avatar gains advantage on 1 creature within 5 feet until either the creature is reduced to 0 hit points or Bloodletter Avatar uses Lick on a new target. Okay. So we're gaining advantage on 1 creature. So in theory, what we could do is we could set this up by hopefully targeting someone that hasn't gone yet before the Bloodletter Avatar. Lick them as a legendary action, and then when our turn comes around, focus fire on them with all 3 attacks. So because of that, I'm going to say plus 4 attack bonus, similar to Blood Frenzy, because when a creature has doesn't have all of their hit points, the creature can has advantage on all the attacks. So that's how I would work out that if we use Lick. But let's look at Rend here and see what happens. Bloodletter Avatar makes an attack with his Great Axe and reduces the creature's target armor class by 5. Woo! Wow. Okay. Oh, that's tricky. Both of these are really good. Lick and Rend are fantastic choices because the Lick is giving us high chances of getting past the AC. Meanwhile, Rend is letting us get by the AC by reducing it. Now, the question is, does the Great Axe have to hit, Wade, in order for the AC to be reduced, or does it just reduce regardless of a hit or miss? And let's see here. Clorox, if a tier 3 fighter attacks this thing with their full attack, that character will probably die after that action. That retributive damage is wild. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Okay. Yeah, I would just add in a little bit of verbiage in case anyone was to use this monster, just to say like, okay, on a successful hit, the creature's armor is reduced by 5. Yeah, I would probably go with that. I would do that over top of the lick, to be honest. That is... rending and destroying armor is going to... It's like always having +5 more attack bonus to hit. And hitting more often, even with little damage, better than hitting less often with higher damage, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with that. That would be my suggestion there. Wow. And so we'll do that. And then if we rend... Okay. I would say, yeah, I would say that's a +5 attack bonus, because that's just reducing the target's AC naturally and making it easier to hit. So I'm going to come over here and pop that in. And we're still doing more damage, and we're doing better than the potential bonus here. Okay, so let's put in our damage. Let's see what we got. All right. 37.5 for the multi-attack times 3 rounds of combat. And CR 15. Interesting. I was not expecting this to be lower than the printed CR. Oh, wait, that's really surprising. And I didn't miss anything. 3 melee attacks. Yeah. Curious. Okay. Any notes? Maybe I missed something, Wade? Wow. Oh, you know what I forgot? Hold on. I forgot to add in the legendary action. So we got 16. CR 16. Okay. We are 4 below the printed CR of 20 here. 24 AC, 218 hit points. Okay. Got the bonus there. Ooh, let's see here. Let me throw in one more attack. Let's say we do 4 attacks to bring this up. Oh, that's only 17. Interesting. Okay, let's go back to 3. Let's do this. We're going to go for the Great Axe, and this is 1d12, right? Oh, you know what? We need to update this, because technically when we have creatures bigger than medium, they're... Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised too. Like I said, usually homebrews are well over their printed. One thing we could say here is, because this monster's huge, this Great Axe should technically be dealing 3d12. We only deal 1d12 for medium creatures, and then every time you go up a step, I think it's in the homebrew rules, you add in another hit dice, or another damage die for that weapon attack to show that it's being wielded by a bigger creature for manufactured weapons. So we'll come over here, and we're going to switch this to 3d12 for a huge humanoid, right? And then we're going to add in the strength bonus of 25.5, and then let's switch this to that. Let's see what happens here. Well, we still technically haven't hit the mark yet. We're close. Homebrew rules. Let's see here. Its CR would fluctuate based on party comp. It's mostly martial. They're taking long range from that divine retribution. If the party is ranged and casters, that's pretty accurate. Oh, sure, yeah. If the party realizes how much damage that the melee person takes from that divine retribution, yeah, for sure. Oh, also, hold up. Let me go back one step here. I forgot to add in the critical damage bonus. So we're looking at... We're not going to do 12.5 because that's not including... We got to remove the strength bonus here. Let's see something real quick. So we're looking at 6.5. That's only 1 point of damage, but we're doing it 4 times potentially. So it's only +4. That's not really going to do anything. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the critical damage potential. All right, yeah, let's switch this to 3d12. And then from there, we're looking at 3d12, which is what? Well, we'll just do 6.5 times 3 for the critical bonus. So that's going to be 3, and we're going to hit 4 times. So we're going to add in 12 for the potential for critical damage. And yeah, we're sitting at CR 19. So if you switch the damage dice just to 3d12, CR 19, that's not terrible at all. And that's reflecting the critical as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're using up all of our stuff to rend. So yeah, there you go, Wade. You know, CR 19, if we just update your dice to 3d12 for a huge monster on the axe. And the next thing I might do is just maybe add in another hit die or two. That was too much. 22. Okay, so if you add in 3 more hit dice, bring up the hit points to 253, and update the number of dice to 3d12, now you have your CR 20. There you go, Wade. That wasn't too terrible to fix. And that's a good creature. I like that monster. That's a fun one. All right, everyone. I've had a long day, and it's a few minutes to 11, so I think I'm going to call it here and say our goodbyes. It's been a fun live stream. Thank you all for joining, as always. And I appreciate, everyone that stopped by. We had Wade stopping in. Thank you for joining and popping into the Discord as well. Clorox, Clawpaw, Radil, a new one that stopped in to say hi. Hong Kong was here. Oh, shoot, Hong Kong. I didn't even see you were here, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. You guys have been awesome, as always, for hanging out with me for this hour of live streaming CRs and exposing them to see how they look. We looked at a couple homebrews, a couple one third party. I guess we could call Emil Wynn's stuff third party now. And an official stuff as well. Thank you, Clawpaw. It's a blast having you all here chatting with me as we discuss this stuff and look over the monsters. And glad everyone could make it. So, again, thank you for watching. If you've watched this at a later time, you've been amazing. You all in the chat room have been amazing as well. And this is me, Andrew, asking the question, are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday.